Jack Bennett stood at the viewport of the Federation Council station, gazing at the swirl of stars. 75 years had passed since humans joined the Galactic Federation. 75 years of proving themselves, adapting to alien technologies, surviving on harsh colony worlds, and showing resilience that amazed even the oldest spacefaring races. Yet even now, Jack could feel the subtle condescension when he entered council chambers. As Earth's ambassador, he had learned to ignore the whispers. Humans were the newcomers, the upstarts, the curious anomaly that other species studied with a mixture of fascination and unease. Jack's communication device buzzed. The message was brief but chilling. Harmony 7 has gone silent. Complete loss of signal. No emergency beacons. His heart sank. Harmony 7 was one of the most successful human colonies, home to over 20,000 people. A complete communications blackout was unprecedented. He hurried through the curved hallways of the station, nodding politely to the various alien representatives he passed. The Zorlaxians with their translucent skin that revealed pulsing organs. Beneath, the insectoid Vectari who communicated through color patterns on their carapaces. The gaseous Mora who floated in specially designed containment suits. Jack entered the council chamber just as the session was beginning. The vast circular room housed representatives from over 200 species. At the center stood Veith, the Zorlaxian diplomat who had led the council for 3 centuries. "Ambassador Bennett," Veith said, his voice like stones grinding together. "You seem troubled." "I request emergency discussion regarding Harmony 7, Jack said, trying to keep his voice steady. "The colony has gone completely dark." Veith's inner organs pulsed a shade darker, the Zorlaxian equivalent of a frown. "Most unfortunate. However, communications failures are not uncommon in distant settlements." "This is not a simple communications failure," Jack insisted. "Every redundant system has failed simultaneously. 20,000 humans are unaccounted for." A ripple of murmurs passed through the chamber. Jack noticed some representatives exchanging glances. "We will add it to today's agenda," Veith said finally. "Item 14. After the Mura gas mining rights and the Feller religious holiday exemptions." Jack clenched his jaw but nodded. Politics before people. The same story throughout the galaxy. Back in his office, Jack received a secure transmission from Susan Wright, commander of the starship Horizon. Her face on the screen looked grim. "Ambassador, we've completed our initial scan of Harmony 7 from maximum sensor range," she said. "It's bad. The colony shows signs of orbital bombardment. Energy signatures match Drakari weapons." Jack felt cold. The Drakari were a warrior species known for their territorial aggression, but they had signed peace treaties with all Federation members decades ago. "Are you certain?" he asked. "Positive," Susan replied. "And there's more. We detected Drakari ships near Delta Station and Hope's Landing. Both colonies have reported communication disruptions in the past 12 hours. This is a coordinated attack," Jack whispered. "Why would the Council ignore this?" "Politics," Susan said simply. "Humans are still seen as newcomers. Our colonies are on the edges of Federation space. Some species might consider us expendable. When the Council finally addressed the Harmony 7 situation hours later, Jack presented Commander Wright's findings. The evidence was clear. Drakari energy signatures, tactical bombing patterns, and the systematic destruction of communication arrays. First, Veith's response was diplomatic but dismissive. "These findings are concerning but inconclusive. The Drakari signed the Galactic Peace Accord. We must not rush to accusations without absolute proof." 20,000 humans are missing or dead," Jack said, his voice rising. "How much more proof do you need, Ambassador Bennett?" A Vectari representative chittered. "Humans are known for their emotional responses. We must approach this with scientific rigor. The Council will form an investigative committee," Veith announced. "They will present their findings at next quarter's session." "Next quarter?" Jack was incredulous. "That's 3 months away." "The proper procedures must be followed," Veith said firmly. "This session is adjourned." As the representatives filed out, Jack noticed some avoiding his gaze. Others watched him with curiosity, as if studying his reaction. He had the distinct feeling that some had known about the attacks before he did. Back in his office, Jack paced, furiously. His communication device buzzed again. 3 messages in rapid succession. Delta Station has gone dark. Total communications blackout. Hope's landing under attack. Emergency beacons activated then silenced. New Europa reporting Drakari ships in orbit, requesting immediate assistance. 4 colonies targeted in less than 24 hours. This was no coincidence. This was war, whether the Federation acknowledged it or not. His secure line blinked. It was Admiral Laura Reeves, the highest-ranking human in the Federation fleet. Her face was a mask of controlled fury. "I've seen the reports," she said without preamble. "The Council is stonewalling us." "They're forming a committee," Jack said bitterly. "Results in 3 months. If we're lucky. In 3 months, we could lose a dozen more colonies." Laura leaned closer to the screen. "Jack, there's something else you should know. The Horizon intercepted communications between Drakari command ships and several Federation vessels." "Which species?" Jack asked, though he already suspected the answer. "Zorlaxian," Laura confirmed. "And Feller. Both have seats on the Security Council." "They knew," Jack whispered. "They knew and they let it happen." "Worse," Laura said. "They helped coordinate it. The targeting was too precise, too focused on our key infrastructure. The Drakari had inside information." Jack felt something hardening inside him. For years, humans had bent over backward to accommodate Federation rules and customs. They had accepted lesser colonies, unfavorable trade agreements, and second-class status because they believed in the greater good of galactic cooperation. "We've been patient," Jack said. "We've been reasonable. We've followed every rule they set. And they took our goodwill for weakness," Laura finished. "The question is, what do we do now?" Jack stared out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, human colonies were burning while the Federation debated procedures. "Admiral Reeves," he said formally, "please inform Earth's leadership that I recommend immediate activation of Protocol Omega." Laura's eyes widened. Protocol Omega was the contingency plan that no human leader had ever seriously considered implementing. It would change humanity's place in the galaxy forever. "Are you certain?" she asked quietly. "They've crossed the line," Jack said, his voice cold, with resolve. "It's time we showed them our limit." As Laura's image faded from the screen, Jack placed his palm on the viewport glass, looking toward the distant point where Earth would be. For 75 years, humans had tried to prove they belonged among the stars. Now they would prove what happened when humanity was pushed too far. The Federation had never seen humans truly angry. They were about to learn. The Luna Command Center buzzed with urgent activity. Buried deep beneath the lunar surface, the facility had been built as humanity's last line of defense. Today, it served as the nerve center for what might become humanity's first galactic stand. Fleet. Admiral Peter Gaines stood before the central holographic display, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of star charts. Around him gathered Earth's highest military leadership, their expressions grim. "Report," Gaines ordered. Lieutenant Catherine Bishop stepped forward. Her uniform was crisp, but dark circles under her eyes revealed she hadn't slept in days. 4. Colonies completely dark. Harmony 7, Delta Station, Hope's Landing, and New Europa, she said. 2 more reporting Drakari ships in orbit, Frontier and Liberty Point. Captain Daniel Cruz added, "We've confirmed the energy signatures at all attack sites, definitely Drakari weapons, but the attack patterns show coordination beyond their usual tactics. Someone helped them plan this." Admiral Gaines nodded slowly. "And the Federation response?" "Minimal," Catherine said with barely contained anger. "They've issued a formal request for the Drakari to explain their fleet movements. The committee to investigate Harmony 7 won't meet for another 2 weeks. Meanwhile, our people die," Daniel said quietly. The room fell silent. Everyone present knew what was at stake. Humanity had spent 3 generations proving they deserved a place among the stars. They had overcome prejudice, adapted to alien environments, and contributed technologies that benefited all species. Yet still, they were treated as the newcomers, the unpredictable element in the galactic equation. A communications officer interrupted. "Admiral, we have President Powell on Secure Channel 1. The main screen flickered to life, showing the face of Alicia Powell, President of the United Earth Government. Her expression was composed, but her eyes burned with resolve. "Admiral Gaines, I've just concluded an emergency session with the Global Council," she said. "We've received Ambassador Bennett's recommendation regarding Protocol Omega." The vote was unanimous. The officers exchanged glances. Protocol Omega had been developed 20 years earlier but never implemented. It was the nuclear option of diplomatic relations. "Madam President, are you certain?" Gaines asked. "Once initiated, there's no going back." "We've tried diplomacy for 75 years, Admiral," Powell replied. "We've accepted unfair trade agreements, second-rate colony worlds, and constant supervision of our technological development. We've played by their rules. And now our colonies burn while the Federation debates." She leaned closer to the camera. "The Federation Treaty includes mutual defense provisions that they are clearly ignoring. As of 800 hours Earth Standard Time, I am invoking Article 47 of the Earth Constitution, temporarily suspending our adherence to Sections 12 through 36 of the Federation Accords." Everyone in the room understood what this meant. Those sections limited human military operations and required transparency in fleet movements. Without them, humanity could finally act independently. "Protocol Omega is now active," President Powell continued. "Phase 1 begins immediately." Admiral Gaines straightened to attention. "Yes, Madam President, we won't let you down." As the screen went dark, Gaines turned to his officers. "You heard the President. Sound general quarters throughout the fleet. All ships to Condition 1. Begin Phase 1 operations." Throughout human space, ships that had been waiting for this signal sprang into action. Civilian transports began evacuating outer colonies. Military vessels that had been hiding in asteroid fields and nebulae emerged, forming protective cordons around key human worlds. Hidden shipyards that had been building vessels in secret for years activated their launch protocols. On Federation, Station Alpha, the massive space station that served as the Federation's headquarters, aliens of all species noticed the sudden change in human behavior. Human diplomats politely excused themselves from meetings. Human traders closed their shops. Early, human scientists archived their research and locked their laboratories. In the council chamber, Veeth the Zorlaxian was speaking about trade regulations when he noticed the human seats were empty. All 12 human representatives had quietly left, without explanation. "Where are the human delegates?" he demanded. A Vectari aide approached nervously. "They've all returned to their ships, Counselor. Ambassador Bennett left a message saying they were recusing themselves from current proceedings due to pressing matters of human security." Across the station, similar reports were coming in. Humans were withdrawing, quietly but definitively. No explanations, no arguments, just a coordinated and complete disengagement. In the Federation Science Division, the director called an emergency meeting. "We're detecting unusual energy signatures from human space," the chief physicist reported. "Their colonies are activating technologies we've never seen before." "What kind of technologies?" the director asked. "We're not sure," the physicist admitted. "Their energy patterns don't match anything in our database, and their ships are moving in formations that suggest coordination on a scale we didn't think they were capable of." The Drakari ambassador laughed when told about the human withdrawal. "Let them hide," he said, his sharp teeth gleaming. "The primitive species finally realizes it doesn't belong in civilized space." But the older species were not so dismissive. The Mura representative, whose species had existed for millions of years, observed quietly, "In all our history we have learned one crucial lesson: beware the quiet ones. When a normally vocal species goes silent, they are not retreating, they are preparing." Aboard the human starship Horizon, Commander Susan Wright received encrypted orders from Luna Command. She read them twice to be sure, then assembled her crew. "Effective immediately, we are enacting Protocol Omega Phase 1, she announced. "All communication with non-human entities is suspended except through approved channels. Weapon systems, to full readiness. Stealth systems engaged. Her first officer looked concerned. Commander, that's a direct violation of Federation transparency requirements. Those requirements no longer apply, Lieutenant, Susan replied calmly. We are now operating under Earth military authority only. She activated the ship-wide communication system. This is Commander Wright. For 75 years, humanity has sought friendship among the stars. We joined the Federation in good faith, followed their rules, and offered our hands in peace. In return, we have been marginalized, patronized, and now, attacked. She paused, looking at the determined faces of her crew. Humanity has been patient. Humanity has been kind. But make no mistake, humanity is not without teeth. The Federation will soon learn that we've reached our limit. As the horizon vanished into stealth mode, similar scenes played out on hundreds of human ships across the galaxy. The message spread from crew to crew, world to world. Humanity had been pushed too far, and they were about to push back. 7 days after Protocol Omega began, the Galactic Federation received an unusual message from humanity. It was delivered not through the standard diplomatic channels, but broadcast on all frequencies in every known language. The human species extends a formal invitation to all Federation representatives to witness a demonstration near the former colony of Harmony 7. Coordinates attached. Arrival time, 3 standard days from this transmission. Observation vessels only. No warships. The message created a storm of debate in the council chambers. For a week, humans had withdrawn from all shared spaces. Their ships moved in strange patterns. Their colonies had gone dark, not from attack but from deliberate communication blackouts. And now this cryptic invitation. It is clearly a trap, said the Drakari ambassador, his scaled skin flushing red with anger. They blame us for their colony failures and seek revenge. Yet they specifically requested unarmed observation vessels, countered an elderly Mura diplomat, her gaseous form swirling thoughtfully in her containment suit. If they wanted combat, why not invite our military ships? Veeth, the Zorlaxian council leader, tapped his long fingers against the podium. The humans have always been unpredictable, but they have never been foolish. I believe we must see what they wish to show us. The council voted. They would send representatives from each major species, but the ships would maintain safe distance and be ready to jump to faster-than-light travel at the first sign of trouble. 3 days later, a fleet of observation vessels gathered at the specified coordinates. Through their viewports, they could see the ruins of Harmony 7. Once a thriving colony of 20,000 humans, it was now a blackened wasteland of craters and twisted metal. A single human ship appeared. It was unlike any human vessel the Federation had seen before. Sleek and silver, it seemed to shimmer slightly as if not fully in phase with normal space. From the ship came a transmission. Jack Bennett's face appeared on the screens of all observation vessels. Representatives of the Galactic Federation, he said calmly. Thank you for coming. For 75 years, humanity has been part of your community. You have witnessed our resilience, our adaptability. You've seen us bend. Today, you'll see that we can break, not in spirit, but in patience. The human ship began deploying small devices around the ruined colony, hundreds of them, forming a grid pattern above the destruction. On the Federation flagship, Veeth turned to his science officer. What are those devices? Unknown technology, the science officer replied, his instruments struggling to analyze them. They're generating a field of some kind. Jack's voice continued. When humanity first reached the stars, we were in awe of the species we met. You had technologies we could barely understand. We were eager students, grateful for any knowledge you shared. But as we learned your sciences, we also continued our own research we kept to ourselves. The devices around Harmony 7 activated simultaneously. A blue-white field of energy enveloped the entire colony. Inside the field, strange patterns began to form. Like watching a building collapse in reverse, the ruins began to reconstruct themselves. On the human flagship Determination, Engineer Olivia Martinez monitored the Lazarus protocol from her station. The quantum reconstruction was proceeding exactly as designed. Years of secret development were paying off as the colony literally rebuilt itself molecule by molecule. Power at 97%, she reported. Reconstruction pattern stable. Captain Greg Mendez nodded. Continue the process, full display mode, let them see everything. In the observation vessels, the Federation representatives watched in stunned silence. Roads reappeared from craters. Buildings rose from their foundations. Even the colony's distinctive central dome, which had been completely vaporized in the attack, took shape again, its transparent surface gleaming in the light of the system's sun. Impossible, whispered a Vectari scientist. Matter cannot be created from nothing. They're not creating it, said the Mura physicist beside him. They're reconstructing it. Every molecule that was scattered by the bombardment is being pulled back into its original position. The energy requirements would be beyond anything we thought humans capable of, finished the Vectari. Jack Bennett's voice returned. While you've been watching us die, we've been learning to undo death itself. The Drakari ambassador snarled and rose from his seat. This is a deception, a holographic trick to intimidate us. I will not stay to watch human theatrics. As he moved to leave, the communication officer turned in alarm. Ambassador, we're surrounded. Outside, dozens of human ships had appeared, encircling the observation fleet. No one had seen them arrive. No sensors had detected their approach. They had simply materialized. Jack continued speaking as if he'd heard the Drakari's comment. This is no deception. The colony of Harmony 7 is being rebuilt exactly as it was. The same atoms, the same structures, and soon, the same people. A gasp went through the observation vessels. Bringing back destroyed buildings was miraculous enough, but surely he couldn't mean. Activating Phase 2, Olivia reported on the determination. The blue-white field intensified. In the streets of the reconstructed colony, human forms began to appear. Walking, talking figures, going about their daily lives as if nothing had happened. What you're seeing are quantum echoes, Jack explained. Perfect copies of the colonists, reconstructed from the quantum imprints they left on the universe. Their bodies, their memories, their consciousness, all preserved and now restored. In the council's vessel, Veith slumped in his chair. How long have they had this technology? His science officer checked readings from the human ships. Based on the advancement level, I would estimate at least 20 years. They've hidden this from us for decades. Not hidden, Jack corrected, making them realize their communications were being monitored. Protected. We learned early in our relationship with the Federation that any technology we shared openly became regulated, restricted, or appropriated. So we kept our most important advances to ourselves. The human ships around the observation fleet moved closer. Now I believe we need to have a conversation about the attack on Harmony 7 and our other colonies, Jack said, his voice hardening. Particularly about who ordered it, who helped plan it, and who stood by knowing it would happen, the Drakari. Ambassador hissed in defiance. You have no proof of anything. Jack smiled thinly. Actually, we do. You see, when you reconstruct a colony atom by atom, you also reconstruct the evidence left behind. Weapons signatures. Communication records. Everything. On the colony surface below, several buildings were now glowing red, highlighting the impact points of energy weapons. The next phase of our demonstration will begin shortly, Jack said. I suggest you all stay in your seats. What you're about to see will change the galaxy forever. A tense silence filled the observation vessels as the Federation representatives waited. The reconstructed colony of Harmony 7 gleamed below them, restored to its former glory. Yet something even more shocking was about to be revealed. Admiral Frank Dawson stepped forward on the bridge of the human flagship Determination. A decorated veteran of Earth's space forces, he had spent 30 years watching humanity struggle for respect in the galaxy. With Ambassador Bennett's permission, I will show you the next phase of humanity's response, he said, his voice carrying to all observation vessels. He pressed a control on his wrist device. The space around them shimmered, and holographic displays appeared before each alien representative. For decades you have monitored our fleet movements, counted our ships, and measured our military capacity, Dawson continued. What you saw was what we allowed you to see. The holographic displays showed images of nebulae, asteroid fields, gas giants, and other celestial phenomena throughout Federation space. As they watched, the images zoomed in to reveal hidden human vessels within each location. Not dozens, not hundreds, thousands. Operation Sleeping Giant, Dawson explained. While you watched our visible fleet, we built another one. Automated warships, hibernation cruisers, stealth destroyers, all waiting for the day they might be needed. On the Council's vessel, Veeth the Zorlaxian turned to his tactical officer. Verify this. Are these images real? The tactical officer worked frantically at his console. Our long-range sensors are detecting new energy signatures at each location shown. They were not there before. Or they were hidden somehow. They're real, the Mura scientist said quietly. The humans have created a stealth technology that can hide ships from our best detection systems. Dawson's voice continued, calm but firm. As we speak, these fleets are activating. Their first mission is now complete. The holographic displays changed to show the Drakari homeworld and its 5 major colony planets. Around each world, dozens of human ships had appeared, weapons ready but not firing. The Drakari ambassador leapt to his feet. This is an act of war. You threaten our civilian populations. We threaten no one, Dawson replied. We have positioned our ships as a containment measure only. Unlike the Drakari, humans do not attack civilian targets. Back on Earth, President Alicia Powell addressed a global broadcast. Billions of humans across the planet and on loyalist colonies watched their leader's face. Citizens of Earth and human space, she began. For 3 generations, we have sought peaceful coexistence with the galactic community. We joined the Federation seeking friendship. We stayed despite inequality. We helped despite ingratitude. Today, we have reached our limit. Her image was being broadcast not just to humans but to every Federation world as well. The humans had bypassed the official channels, using their own communications technology to reach every screen in the galaxy. The attack on our colonies was not a random act of violence, Powell continued. It was a coordinated attempt to halt human advancement, planned by several Federation members and carried out by the Drakari. In the observation fleet, Jack Bennett activated another holographic display. It showed communication logs, strategic plans, and payment records. These documents were recovered from the reconstructed colony databases, Jack explained. They prove that the Zorlaxian High Command, the Feller Trade Consortium, and the Vectari Military Council all participated in planning the attacks. The Drakari were merely the hired muscle. Veeth's inner organs pulsed darkly. These are fabrications. You cannot expect us to believe. We found the original attack plans in your military database, interrupted Security Officer Nicole Harris, stepping forward on the human ship. Our quantum decryption team broke your codes 3 years ago. We've been monitoring your secure communications ever since. The revelation sent shockwaves through the observation fleet. If humans could break the supposedly unbreakable encryption used by the older species, what else could they do? You fear us, Jack said into the stunned silence. You have always feared us. Not for what we've done, but for what we might become. You saw our rapid advancement, our adaptability, and instead of welcoming it, you sought to contain it. The elderly Mura diplomat's gaseous form swirled faster, a sign of distress. Not all of us agreed with this approach. Many of us advocated for true partnership with humans, and you were overruled, Jack said, by those who could not imagine sharing power with what they considered a lesser species. On the Determination, Olivia Martinez monitored the feed from Harmony 7. Restoration at 99%, Captain. The colonists' consciousness patterns are stabilizing. Below them, the recreated humans on the colony surface were becoming more solid, more real. No longer mere echoes, they were fully restored beings, looking up at the ships in orbit with confusion and wonder. Jack's voice softened. What you are witnessing is not just a technological miracle. It is a moral statement. While you plotted to destroy us, we developed the power to undo destruction itself. While you sought to kill, we mastered the ability to restore life." He paused, letting his words sink in. "But make no mistake. Just because we can heal doesn't mean we cannot harm. The same technology that can restore atoms to their proper place can rearrange them in ways you cannot imagine." Throughout Federation space on thousands of worlds, alien populations watched the broadcast with growing alarm. The humans they had dismissed as newcomers, as junior partners in the galactic community, had just revealed technologies beyond anything known to exist. "We offer the following terms," Jack said firmly. "First, those responsible for the attacks will face justice. Not human justice, but a tribunal of all Federation species. Second, the Federation structure will be reformed to provide equal representation for all members, regardless of how long they have been spacefaring. Third, humanity's sovereign right to develop and maintain its own defense systems will be acknowledged and respected." He let his gaze move across the alien representatives. "These terms are non-negotiable. You have one standard day to respond." The Drakari ambassador snarled. "And if we refuse, will you destroy our worlds with your hidden fleets?" Jack shook his head. "We are not you. We will not target civilians or bombard planets. Instead, we will simply turn off the lights." Nicole Harris activated a small device. Across the observation fleet, systems began to shut down. Life support remained functional, but weapons, engines, and communications went dark. "For decades, humans have helped build and maintain Federation technology," Jack explained. "We incorporated safeguards into nearly every system, not as sabotage, but as protection against exactly this scenario. We can disable any Federation technology remotely." The alien representatives looked at their dead consoles in horror as the full implications became clear. Humanity didn't need to fire a single shot to bring the Federation to its knees. "One day," Jack repeated calmly, "we await your answer." 6 months had passed since the day humanity revealed its true capabilities to the galaxy. The Galactic Federation had been transformed in ways few would have thought possible. The grand hall of the new Federation Council looked different now. Gone was the tiered seating that had placed older species at the top and newer ones at the bottom. In its place was a circular arrangement where every representative sat at equal height. Jack Bennett stood at the center of the hall, addressing the assembled delegates. He wore a simple blue uniform with a small Earth emblem. "The integration of the reformed judicial system is now complete," he announced. "All Federation citizens will be subject to the same laws, with the same protections and the same consequences, regardless of species or origin." A murmur of approval spread through the hall. This had been one of the most challenging reforms to implement. For thousands of years, older species had enjoyed legal privileges that newer members did not share. Veeth the Zorlaxian sat among the delegates, much diminished from his former status. The trials had revealed his deep involvement in the conspiracy against human colonies. While many of his co-conspirators had been removed from power entirely, Veeth had been allowed to remain as a regular delegate after a public apology and agreement to serve as advisor during the transition. "The human approach to justice is unexpected," Veeth had admitted privately to Jack weeks earlier. "We thought you would seek revenge. Instead, you asked for accountability and reform." "Revenge is easy but empty," Jack had replied. "Building a better system is harder but worth the effort." Now in the council hall, a Drakari representative rose to speak. The Drakari presence in the Federation had been controversial after their role in the attacks was revealed. But humans had insisted that entire species should not be punished for the actions of their leaders. "The reparation projects on former human colonies are ahead of schedule," the Drakari reported. "Our engineering teams are working alongside human restoration experts. We expect New Europa to be habitable again within 2 months." Jack nodded. "Thank you for your efforts. The cooperation between our species has been exemplary." In the medical wing of the Federation headquarters, Dr. Ryan Campbell led a team of mixed-species researchers. A brilliant human physician, he had spent decades secretly developing medical technologies that the old Federation would have restricted or controlled. The neural regeneration treatment is ready for wider distribution, he told the medical council. We'll begin with the species most affected by nerve diseases, then expand the program. An elderly Vectari doctor clicked her mandibles in amazement. This technology could have saved millions of lives if shared earlier. It would have been taken and restricted, Ryan replied honestly. Now it can be shared freely, with all species having equal access. The Vectari couldn't disagree. Under the old system, advanced medical technologies were often controlled by the dominant species and distributed according to political favor rather than need. On Earth, Admiral Laura Reeves stood in the newly constructed Galactic Defense Center. Around her, military officers from dozens of species worked at monitoring stations, tracking ships and potential threats throughout Federation space. The integrated defense network is online, reported a human lieutenant. All member worlds now have equal protection status. Laura nodded with satisfaction. This had been one of humanity's key demands, a transparent military structure where no world could be sacrificed for political convenience. A feller commander approached her, his feathered crest raised in a sign of respect. Admiral, we've detected unusual energy readings from Sector 87, possibly a new species attempting faster-than-light travel for the first time. Send a welcome ship, Laura ordered. Standard first contact protocols. Make sure they know they're meeting the Federation, not just humans. The commander nodded and moved away. Laura smiled slightly. The old Federation would have sent evaluators to determine if the new species was worthy of contact. Now, the approach was one of welcome and support. In a quiet corner of the Federation station, reporter Maria Sullivan interviewed aliens about their perspectives on the changes of the past 6 months. A human journalist known for her direct questions, Maria had become something of a celebrity in the Federation for her unfiltered coverage of the transition. How do you feel about humans now? She asked a young Zorlaxian scholar. The scholar's inner organs pulsed thoughtfully. We always misunderstood humans. We thought their greatest strength was their ability to endure without limit. Now we understand. Their greatest strength is knowing exactly where that limit should be. Can you explain? Maria pressed. Other species either break too easily or never know when to stand firm, the scholar explained. Humans bend and adapt until they reach a principle worth defending. Then they become immovable. It is a rare combination. On the restored colony of Harmony 7, the residents continued their lives, fully aware that they had been reconstructed after the attack. For most, the experience was seamless. Their consciousness had been preserved in the quantum imprints humans had learned to read and restore. Does it bother you? A visiting Federation dignitary asked one of the colonists. Knowing that you died and were brought back? The colonist, a farmer named Bill Rogers, shrugged. At first it did. But then I realized we're all just patterns of energy and matter. The pattern that is me continues. That's what matters. This philosophical acceptance had surprised many alien observers. They had expected humans to be traumatized by the experience. Instead, most had adapted with remarkable resilience. Back in the council chamber, Jack Bennett concluded the day's session. 6 months ago, humanity reached its limit. We showed the galaxy what we were truly capable of. Many feared that day would mark the beginning of human dominance or revenge. He looked around at the diverse species gathered as equals. Instead, it marked the beginning of true cooperation, not based on age or tradition or power, but on mutual respect and shared principles. As the delegates filed out, Jack was approached by an ancient Mura, her gaseous form barely contained in her suit, a sign of extreme old age. I have lived through 12 reorganizations of the Galactic Order, she said, her translated voice whispery. Usually they come through war and destruction. Yours came through revelation and reform. It is unprecedented. Jack smiled. Humans have a saying, the pen is mightier than the sword. I do not understand this metaphor, the Mura admitted. It means that ideas and truths have more lasting power than weapons, Jack explained. We could have used our technology to conquer. Instead, we used it to convince. The Moira's form rippled in what Jack had learned was laughter. You humans. Always so poetic. But there is wisdom there. Later that evening, Jack stood at a viewport, looking out at the stars. A voice behind him made him turn. Quite a view, isn't it? President Alicia Powell had arrived for the quarterly review of the new Federation Charter. Hard to believe how much has changed, Jack said. Alicia nodded. Do you think they've truly accepted us now? Or do they just fear what else we might be? Hiding? A bit of both, probably, Jack admitted. But fear can become respect over time. And respect can become friendship. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the galaxy that had underestimated humanity for so long. No species will ever forget the day humans reach their limit, Alicia said finally. But I hope they'll remember what came after even more.